know what that is, Danny?
A sepulcher?
Wrong.
A crypt?
No, dork. It's a place where they bury somebody. Or should I say, what's left of some body. And his name was Curtis Danko.
Everybody's scared of the curse of Curtis Danko.
He was like a nerd, he was a geek. He kind of kept to himself.
He was a young boy who died quite mysteriously.
He wrote in his own ashes that if you ever have another Halloween, I'm gonna destroy you all.
Since that day, 20 years ago, Walker Falls has never had another Halloween.
The story was written by RL Stine, When Good Ghouls Go Bad, and we've since had a few people adapt it and work on it, and the latest being Patrick Johnson, who has adapted R.L. Stine's story for this movie and is directing his own adaptation of it.
And I thought, this is just scary enough to make you shiver, but it doesn't then go off and veer off into sickness. It doesn't get twisted. It doesn't get into grotesquerie. It doesn't try to disturb you. It tries to make you giggle a little bit and make you, that's that nervous sort of poltergeist laughter.
Anybody else want a piece of me?
Christopher Lloyd is so awesome. He's like a genius. He is so funny. He had to dress up like a barbarian, and he had this huge, humongous axe. He was waving it around, and he had these horns sticking out of his head, and they kept poking me in the eye.
Executioner to you, wee grandson.
I was really freaked out.
I don't think that we said, let's write this for Chris Lloyd. But when it was written and we looked at it and we thought, who could play this? There was a very short list of one name, and he was it.
Oh, wow, great. Christopher Lloyd's playing Uncle Fred. Right, this is going to be, I knew from that point on it was going to be a great movie.
Happy Halloween!
Uncle Fred treated me a lot of the ways that I treat Danny. He was running the chocolate factory. He was the town's favorite uncle, and spent so much time taking care of everybody else that there wasn't a whole lot left for me.
I worked hard to make this happen, Dad. Real hard.
Don't we know it?
Just trying to follow your example. Gotta make your mark in this world, remember? Uncle Fred.
Oh, there's more than one way to make a mark, Jamie. Being a big success is no guarantee of being a good father.
At least we agree on that.
The grandfather, the sort of patriarch of the town, started the town, and it's kind of a company town built on this chocolate factory, the Walker Chocolate Company. For some mysterious reason, 20 years ago, Uncle Fred shut the factory down just after the mysterious death of one Curtis Danko, and no one could ever figure out, was there a correlation? Why shut down the town's heart?
If you want to believe in the legend of Curtis Danko, then my old man had no choice but to shut the factory down in order to save the town from certain doom. Don't you remember what it was like when the factory was running night and day and folks would head down to Jonathan's pumpkin patch and they'd carve jack-o'-lanterns? How as kids would start to get our costumes together, our entire lives devoted to the pursuit of one night of fog and pranks and first kisses, and of course the biggest prize of all, a big fat bag of candy. Well, we can have all of that back. All we need is to start up that old factory again. It's all still up there, folks. The machinery is oiled and ready. The ingredients are in the hoppers. Miss Vanderspool and I even ran a test batch of the old recipe to make sure that it was as good as we remembered. All I need are the people to make it all work again.
Mostly I just wanted to find a way to make it a more character-driven piece. I mean, it had an essence of a fun story already in place. There was this wonderful idea of what happens to a relationship between a boy and his father figure in lieu of the actual relationship he's had with his own father, which is sort of strained. When he loses the person who's most important to him, he has to face the reality of growing up now with his own actual father, instead of growing up in the household that was sort of run by the man, the uncle character.
I know you miss Uncle Fred. miss him too.
Why? Why do you miss him? What about him do you miss? His crazy costumes? His toys scattered all over the house? Or do you miss him acting out stories for you? Or helping you with your homework? Or playing slot cars with you? Or building models? Or sharing his space food sticks with you? Or did you even really know who he was?
We still played with the deeper themes of, death, I mean, the original story sort of dealt with death on a level of, well, he's dead, and isn't that sad, and now we got to deal, now we got to move on and have our fun.
It's you. Danny, it's okay. Danny, oh, it's me. It's Uncle Fred.
But you're dead.
Apparently not.
How scary can you get? We don't get very scary in this film, but we get, in a flashy way, we don't get scary. We get scary in a quieter way and in a disturbing way, and the issues that we bring up. I mean, the fascination that Dana has, for example, with the process of dying and death.
I remember when my grandparents died. At first, it doesn't seem real. Then when it finally hits you that they're really dead, you start thinking about all that gross stuff that's happening to their bodies down there.
In the beginning of the story, I just think he's, a dork and all that. But then we become friends later on because I help him with his Uncle Fred and all that stuff. So it brings us closer.
But it is cheery when you think about it. I mean, the dying part is sad and probably scary, just because you can't do anything about it.
She is basically the only real friend that Danny has. Everybody's picking on Danny. But Dana, is the only one who gives him a chance, really. And they get to be really close friends.
Aren't you a cheerleader?
Danny and Dana are essentially trying to get to the bottom of why is all of this happening, how is it happening, and it's not so much necessarily a murder mystery, but a death mystery. How did Curtis Danko die? Why did he die? And why is he coming back? Because he does come back, and that's the scariest part of all of it.
I've never done a film with so many special effects and, with all the body parts and all that stuff.
Hold these!
I think I'm gonna be sick.
We gotta get you out of here.
I hate to leave empty-handed.
We have this disembodied hand that's running around throughout the film, and that's basically, if you could see the dailies for this, you've got essentially all these extras sitting at this Oktoberfest, listening to polka music, and there's a guy, there's a stunt man dressed head to toe in green except for his hand, which is made up like Uncle Fred's hand, and he's running around and going, and bouncing this hand all over people, and it's the silliest footage you can possibly imagine until they take the guy out, and then it's still silly, but at least it's what it's meant to be.
The film has a great number of visual effects, not gory, of course. It's fantasy, so it's magic. We've got lots of magic from the visual effects.
Uncle Fred?
Yeah.
That's the key to Curtis Danko's crypt.
What did you do? What did you do?
We've got lots of physical special effects as well.
Nice try. Is it for real zombie you'd wear a fake rubber mask like this?
In a movie like this, where you're using puppets and green screen, and you've got disembodied hands, and you've got Curtis Danko, who is a creation of many different techniques, but you're never going to be able to just sort of shoot the scene the way you want to shoot it and just cover it from a few angles, and there you got it, like you can with normal, real actors. You have to just have the puppet walk through frame, and it's sort of, it'll get a couple of steps right, and then it'll wobble, and its head will go, or the servos that are moving the eyes will go, and so out of 90 feet of film, 1 foot will work, but that 1 foot will be magical.
I have one last thing I'd like to do in the time I have left.
What's that?
I'd like to take your mom dancing with the fireflies.